Hello, and welcome to Prime Pulse News USA. Tonight's top story. In a stunning double development, President Donald Trump has signed an executive order renaming the Department of Defense to its historic title, the Department of War. On the same day, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement carried out one of the largest workplace raids in recent history, detaining nearly 500 workers at a Hyundai electric vehicle plant in Georgia. Here's our full report. Inside the Oval Office, President Trump announced the renaming of the Pentagon's civilian command. He stated that Department of War better reflects the nation's posture in an increasingly dangerous world. Critics warn that the change signals a shift toward militarization, while supporters argue it restores historical context. The Pentagon originally bore the Department of War name until 1947, when it was rebranded as the Department of Defense after World War II. Sources: The Guardian. Trump's decision revives Cold War-era symbolism and hints at a more aggressive foreign policy stance, as the administration signals tougher lines against nations including China, Iran, and Russia. Sources: The Guardian. Meanwhile, ICE conducted a massive operation at Hyundai's Georgia EV plant, detaining approximately 475 workers, many of whom are South Korean nationals. The raid has prompted diplomatic concern, with officials in Seoul seeking clarification from Washington. Labor advocates caution that the operation could disrupt production at one of America's largest electric vehicle facilities. Sources: AP News. Federal authorities describe the raid as part of a broader crackdown on illegal foreign labor pipelines. Hyundai has not issued an official statement, and questions remain about how so many undocumented workers were employed at a major factory. Sources: AP News. From Washington to Georgia, these stories underscore a more assertive tone in American policy under President Trump. Constitutional concerns, economic fallout, and diplomatic tensions are expected to dominate public debate in the coming days. That concludes our report. The Department of War has returned to the national conversation, and nearly 500 workers face uncertainty following the ICE raid. Stay with Prime Pulse News USA for continuing coverage. Tonight's top story. President Donald Trump is seeking to deploy federal agents and National Guard troops to Chicago to address rising crime and immigration concerns. However, the proposal is facing strong legal and political opposition. Here's our full report. The administration announced plans to send federal personnel to Chicago, calling it a hotspot for violent crime and immigration issues. The deployment would include both federal law enforcement and National Guard troops, supporting local police in targeted operations. Sources: The Washington Post, Wikipedia, Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker has publicly resisted the move, stating that federal troops are unnecessary and could escalate tensions. A recent federal court ruling in Los Angeles halted a similar deployment, citing constitutional concerns and overreach, suggesting Chicago could face comparable legal challenges. Sources: The Washington Post, Wikipedia. Supporters argue that federal resources are vital to combat crime, while critics warn the plan undermines local governance and risks confrontations between residents and federal forces. Sources: The Washington Post. Mayor Lori Lightfoot voiced concerns, warning that a heavy federal presence may erode trust between communities and law enforcement. Local officials advocate for community-based solutions and targeted social programs instead. Sources: The Washington Post. Tonight we turn to the U.S. labor market, which is showing signs of slowing. Employers added just 22,000 jobs last month, far below expectations, signaling a cooling trend under the Trump administration. Here's our full report. Key sectors, including retail, manufacturing, and hospitality, recorded minimal job growth. Analysts say uncertainty around federal policies, trade, taxation, and regulation is dampening business confidence. Sources: Newsday economists warn that slower job growth could affect consumer spending and economic momentum. Global market volatility and persistent inflation pressures are also contributing factors. Sources: Newsday. Dr. Thompson notes, quote, "The labor market is stable, but growth is clearly slowing. Businesses are hesitant to hire due to policy uncertainty, especially around corporate taxes and tariffs. This trend may affect the broader economy in coming months." Sources: Newsday. Healthcare and professional services saw modest gains while manufacturing and retail lagged, highlighting sector vulnerabilities to policy-driven uncertainty. Sources: Newsday. Tonight, political attention turns to New York City, where Mayor Eric Adams is reportedly considering a federal role, possibly ambassador to Saudi Arabia, even as he campaigns for re-election. Here's our full report. Sources indicate Adams has explored a federal diplomatic appointment, which would raise his national profile, but also cast doubt on his commitment to serving as mayor. While Trump has denied offering the post, speculation continues to dominate political discussions. Sources: New York Post. The timing is sensitive. Opponents may use the rumors to question his focus on city issues, while supporters argue that national recognition could benefit NYC through federal partnerships. Sources: New York Post. Dr. Lee says, quote, "Even without an official offer, the discussion places Adams in a delicate position. He must balance local responsibilities with potential national opportunity." Sources: New York Post. As the mayoral campaign heats up, speculation over Adams's federal role may influence voter perception, campaign strategy, and endorsements. Sources: New York Post. As Chicago braces for potential federal action, this debate highlights the ongoing tension between federal authority and local governance. Legal, political, and public pressures will determine the next steps. That concludes our special report. Stay with Prime Pulse News USA for updates on federal deployments, local governance, and constitutional issues. That concludes our report on U.S. job growth. As hiring slows, businesses, workers, and policymakers alike are watching closely. Stay tuned to Prime Pulse News USA for ongoing coverage of the economy and labor trends. That concludes our political update from New York City. Mayor Adams faces the challenge of balancing city leadership with national prospects. Stay with Prime Pulse News USA for continuing coverage of U.S. politics, elections, and federal appointments. You're watching Prime Pulse News USA. Stay with us and don't forget to subscribe, because your source for what's trending, what's changing, and what's next in America.